This is CT over the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be reviewing Seeking Sister Wives, Season 3, Episode 3. Now, guys, listen. Now, you know this is my favorite show, but I was not able to be here with you last week, and as well for the other shows that I do, like 90 Day Fiance, because I have been battling COVID and it has been kicking me in my behind. So, if you just let me know in the chat if let me know in the chat if I need to speak up. My voice sounds a little bit weird. I know I'm trying to push through here. But anyway, we are going to make it through. So, how is everybody? Have you guys been watching this nonsense? So, but we're back, okay? We are here for the dragathon, okay? Because we're going to drag, all right? We're going to drag all of these people. So, all right, I watched last week's episode as well, but this review, I mean, my head was just like so foggy. I'm not even going to try and combine both episodes. Excuse me. So, we're just going to be talking today about mainly episode 3. And if I can remember anything from episode 2, then I'll bring that up as well. All right, so let's get started, everybody. This is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's keep that in mind. All of my judgment is completely from a non-religious perspective, but it is based on a patriarchal perspective, which I'm absolutely against. Down with the patriarchy, up with the matriarchy. All right, so who do we start off with first? We're going to be starting off with Garrick. Okay, so Garrick, oh my God. Garrick is, he's over there, he's saying his really tearful goodbyes to Bert, right? And Leah asked Danielle about, like, what the boundaries are and stuff like that. Now, now, did you guys notice that before Danielle and Leah even sat down and had this conversation, basically I don't know, what can I say? I'm really trying to observe the chemistry between Garrick and Leah. And it feels like Leah's trying, but Garrick, he's not into her like that. He said she was pretty before, but how he sits on the couch like this? Yeah, she's pretty. Yeah, yeah, real pretty. Looking at Danielle like he doesn't have a brain in between his head, right? And I'm wondering if like she is from like central casting, and because it just feels to me something just feels like a little bit weird. Who is this? Hey, Burgundy! Oh my God, Burgundy, you're on here. Oh my God, listen, everybody, Burgundy Blue, that is my buddy. All right, she is the queen of the Seeking Sister Wives. Absolute ridiculousness, right? She did some very wonderful in-depth reviews last year with the whole Snowden debacle and everything like that. So please go over and check out her channel, Burgundy Blue Commentary. She has like great graphics and stuff like that. Girl, I got to get up there with you. I'm not quite that high tech. I think you said Super Mario was your guy that was helping you out. So thank you so much for joining in. So yeah, basically, so I'm wondering, and Burgundy, listen, you comment and let me know if you feel the same way. Oh no, you're too kind because she shouted me out. I got like, all of like, a very small handful of followers, but she was very nice of me to even Super Mario. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because he's the one that helped you out with a lot of the graphics and things like that. I'm so low tech over here. I've been doing lives basically because it's been difficult to do pre-recorded episodes and then to upload them. Like it's like my videos will be in upload purgatory for like 50 days, and I have no time. I just can't even take it. So I'm wondering, like, do you guys feel like something is up with Leah? Because I'm wondering, like, is she from like central casting? Because I know we were all kind of shocked. Oh, so they got like a nice melanated, natural hair, curvy girl, which is somebody that I didn't see Garrett. I didn't really imagine him being with someone like that. But listen, interracial relationships, we've seen interracial relationships where you would never, put two people together in your mind and they're together and they're in love and they have 6 kids or whatever. So you never really know. But it's just I'm watching his body language, and you guys know how I am with body language, especially when it comes down to like 90 Day Fiance and these other shows. I really want to see how they are really kind of interacting with one another, right? So I felt as though like he's really just crying and crying, Bert, right? And I'm not seeing like him even be like, because like, listen, if he was really, I really do believe that he really does love that woman. You all know. I mean, listen, okay, you all know I'm here to drag. I'm very judgmental towards all of this. That's and that's why we have diversity in our different channels and our different opinions. And my dragathon basically comes from the perspective of I feel that there's just too much of an imbalance. Now, if this were a show where it was called Seeking Sister Wives and Brother Husbands, and everybody's just basically free to do what they want because everyone is open and there's not a power imbalance, then that would be different. And so that's where I'm coming from it with my perspective with this show. It's like, it just feels like it's just a man and his stable or whatever. Yeah, right. You agree with me. Thank you, Burgundy, because Burgundy, you're very kind. You're kinder than I am, because girl, I'm ready to drag them across the street. So let's go back into Leah and this whole body language and this lack of chemistry that I'm just not seeing with them. So normally if a guy is so if he's so like heartbroken about this woman, right? Now, a man who's willing to have all these different women, even if he's really heartbroken about this woman that he can't be with because of distance, well, they say because her mom is sick or whatever, even though his wife went up there and falsely testified that, they couldn't get along or something, whatever, she used that excuse for them to get divorced so that Bert could legally marry him, and she's still in Brazil. What the hell is going on? How sick is her mom? I mean, is she like on a ventilator? Like, what's going on with this illness, right? Is this some production games? I don't know. So I'm saying that there's just a lack of chemistry. So getting back to what I was saying about, if there's a man who even still genuinely cares about a woman and he can't be with her because of distant time and distance or whatever, but then you're bringing in another woman because you have such a insatiable sexual appetite that you have to have all of these women. Usually most men would be like, you know what, oh man, I miss you, Bert. Okay, I'll see you later. Ciao, right? But he's like, all sobbing and crying, and his mascara is running and all of this, right? And he's not paying attention to this woman that's here. So that, I mean, we knew that she was Danielle's pick from the beginning, but I'm starting to think that maybe production or something, maybe, I don't know, because it seems like maybe okay, this is my theory, this is in my head, my little conspiracy theory, allegedly. Okay, basically, because they want to keep these couples on, they got to find somebody, because the show's called Seeking Sister Wives, so they got to find somebody else to bring into the mix. And this is maybe where production might step in and get people from central casting to audition for this part, and then maybe Danielle was instrumental in picking the final whatever. This is what I'm thinking, because I'm just not seeing the chemistry. I'm just not getting it. So when she sits down with Danielle and she starts asking about boundaries, and Danielle's like, oh, okay, well, you can't, there's no sex, and da 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 da. And Leah's kind of looking like, well, why don't you trust me? You don't think I'm here, da 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 da. I'm not here to break anyone's trust. And Danielle's sitting there, and she's like, well, she's sure opinionated, and yes, she is opinionated, which makes me feel like, I'm just not really convinced that this is real. So let's go on to the next little chapter here. So now we have, and I talked about that. Did I say that Danielle is feeling intimidated by Leah? It's like she wants the intimidation factor because she wants to use that. She wants to use her like an attack dog on Bert whenever she gets there. But at the same time, she's starting to feel, or at least she's demonstrating, that she doesn't know if she's going to be able to handle her because she's so outspoken. Well, you know what? Hey, even though I don't agree with Leah's choice to be with these people, if this is all above board and legit, I can still say that she is an independent, free-thinking woman, and she is making a decision, versus someone like Danielle, who's sitting there crying into the camera and pretending that she's not jealous when she knows. At least Leah, we know what she's thinking. At least that. I'll give that to Leah. I'll give that to her. So now we go to, with Obsidian and Tasha. And Sidian has been talking to Tasha's ex co-worker, this Filipina who's a beauty pageant winner back in the Philippines. And he's oh, she's a beauty pageant winner. Gee, listen, in the Philippines they have beauty pageants like on a Tuesday. Okay, that is a beauty pageant capital. It don't mean nothing. She's a beauty pageant queen, whatever. That means nothing. So Tasha claims that she was so, enamored with her wonderful friendship and this beautiful personality of her friend that she wanted to convince her to be with her husband Sidian. Does this not sound like some um let's say a trafficking without the trafficking kind of situation? That's what like panderers do, like men pandering is the legal term for pimping, right? How they send out the women to go get another woman and get her all soft and warm and get, oh, come on in, yeah. Well, yeah, it is pandering. It is pandering. I mean that. I mean, you can get arrested for that. That I mean, there's laws against that, right? Unfortunately, but we have such a large global problem of sex trafficking. The thing is that these are not minors. These are women who are just for whatever reason are suspending their critical thinking. Don't understand it, don't get it, but whatever. Let's move on. So apparently this I don't want to be disrespectful, keep calling her the Filipina. I forgot her name. If anybody knows her name, please put it in the chat. I don't remember her name, but the potential new person who lives in the Philippines, she moved back to the Philippines, and that's been like the barrier has been the distance. So now Tasha's afraid that she's going to lose interest, and they just want to hurry up and basically set up the meeting. So Sidian is thinking about going to the Philippines. Now, if she is, I mean, a lot of people in the Philippines are Catholic, and I grew up in a Catholic family. I know how that whole thing works, and so I'm wondering if she is Catholic, and if she's not, if does she come from like, because City will say she comes from a conservative Christian background. Now, remember on my 90-Day Fiance, Hazel and what's his name, Tariq or something like that. Remember, she came from that. Let me tell you, that was like the Filipino version of a holy, sanctified, snake rattling down south kind of crazy kind of Christianity. So there are different sects of Christianity in the Philippines as well. So I don't know which, how, she grew up, or, religiously how she identifies, and how this polygamy fits in. I mean, it's not something that I'm familiar. I mean, I grew up with lots of Filipinos, lots. I just haven't heard of, polygamy, but I mean, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It exists, I'm sure, in every culture, but I'm wondering how that's going to go down in a Filipino family that still lives in the Philippines. That is very interesting to me. So I'm wondering, okay, so she's a beauty pageant queen, right? So I'm thinking that she's probably like, you know what, let me go ahead and get my shine on this show, okay? So I can get a couple of more crowns, all right? And then I can, is it Arielle? Oh, okay, Arielle. Thank you. Thank you, Burgundy. Arielle. So I'm thinking Arielle is trying to get into a new beauty pageant, or just, basically it's a come up, right? I mean, we use the term clout chasing, it used to be called fame chasing, whatever you want to call it. That, to me, she does not seem to be down with this situation, but we didn't get as much conversation out of her. I want to see a little bit more interaction. She doesn't even seem to be into sitting like that. I mean, I don't know, it seems like she's just on here for TLC, because she probably heard that, you know what, listen, when the Filipinos go on TLC, you can definitely rate, maybe it makes her popular in the Philippines. I remember her saying much that they said Philippines any more than Filipino. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe, there have been a lot of Filipino women that I would probably say the Philippines may have been the most represented after maybe Ukraine or Russia, on these dating reality shows. And I mean, does that not help your status back home? I mean, let's call a spade, because I don't think she was feeling it. So let's go on to oh, good lord, that weirdo, what's his name, with the two women, with April and Jen. Oh God, let me tell you something. They pulled these men out of the troll factory this year, honey. I mean, this is like TV gold, because we are looking at these men, and I'm like, I mean, these are not Jason Momoas over here that you got to say to yourself, right? Burgundy. Am I right? Am I right? We're not talking about Jason Momoa that you got to be like, okay, well, all right, this is real crazy. This is out of my depth. I don't know I can do this, but you're rich and you're tall and you're fine and all. They got these men like out of I don't even know like where these men are coming from. I mean, like the women are not terrible, but the men, it's like, are you serious? So, Mr. Intellectual who likes to sit home and do research, okay? Why don't you research how to fix this little situation over here, okay? Fix that first, all right? Anyway, all right, I'm being shady. I'm going below the belt right now, but I just can't help myself. Are you serious? So this man brings this girl home, and she's got her little freakum dress on, right? With all of her glory all poking. Burgundy girl, I know. I mean, listen, this is why we make these channels, right? Because we need somebody that we can talk to. Listen, guys, if you're wondering like what I'm doing, like laughing at myself, I'm reading the comments because this is hysterical. I don't, I gotta check in with my other friends in my real life. I don't know if they're watching this show, but as of right now, I don't know any of my friends that are watching this show. So you are the community, and you are who I'm talking to. But did you see this girl with this dress on, these boots, and her hair, and like. I mean, there's no reason. Listen, I'm not here to shame anybody. Okay, we are human beings. We come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, everything, right? Now, but in today's day and age, if you were going to go on national television, there is no way you're going to wear a dress that thin that looked like it came from, I don't know, what's that, these little Shane Beauty, I don't know, these little 99-cent dresses that are about this thin without some Spanx on. Come on now, like don't play yourself like that. If you want to be a big girl and you want to wear something tight and show off your curves, represent the big girls right. Don't be doing that. She looked terrible. She's absolutely terrible. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. And production, production is wrong because to let her go on screen like that was just, it was horrendous. My God. Anyway, so I'm getting off of the point. So she's dressed up in her her Sunday hoish fineness. I don't know what she was thinking. And they go out, and then now it's the next episode. Well, that was last episode. Now the next episode, they wake up together. Exactly. She could have worn a nice dress. Just something. You got to bring that. Listen, you got to work with your shape, right? So I love it. In fact, listen, I make clothing. In fact, I made this. Like, I like to make clothes. And one thing I think about clothing, and this is a little side tangent because I'm really into fashion. I believe that clothing is supposed to work for you. So when I see a garment, I'm just going to use my little mask here. When I see a garment, I look at this thing and I say, not, is this just going to cover my body? No, we're beyond that. Clothes need to work for you, need to work for your shape. Is it going to bring my waist in? Is it going to make my legs look longer? Something like, and then you go on national television, like, come on, don't play yourself like that. So anyway, she's wearing this dress. It's just sinful. And they wake up the next morning and, with this glow, and she's all rubbing his hand, and, his eyes all looking this way. And she's talking about how much, they, what a good time they had. And then here's the thing. Jen and April go, yeah, well, they had their date and we just at some point got back in the bed. So you mean to tell me you got these women who are not only working, holding down the fort, cleaning, cooking, and giving him, other things, and they got to go sleep out on the couch, or were they in the garage? Where were they? Like, these women. Now, I'm not saying Jen and April are beauty queens. Let's keep it real, all right? We're going to keep it 100. They're not beauty queens, but they're still nice enough looking women that they're intelligent enough. They're able-bodied women that they have to be. I mean, what is the thought process that's going on here? That you're with this man, and you got to go. You can't even sleep in your bed at night. Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. This is, I can't. I swear to God. I need a drink when I have this. I can't. I couldn't do it. I could not believe as they sat there with all that discomfort, sitting on that couch in front of the camera going, yeah, well, we got in there at some point. Are you serious? Oh my God. And he's, sitting there talking about how he's so into her. She's like all of 22 years old or something like that. This doesn't make any sense. I mean, and look at him. I mean, would you just look at him? Oh, not on my worst day. I don't care if he was the last man on the earth and the fate of the universe was all dependent upon having a child with this man. There is no way. So, all right. Oh God, I'm like my brain cells, because this COVID thing has got my head splitting, and if I get a little too upset, my head starts to pound. So that's a sign that I have to move on to the next couple. So all right, so now we have Mr. Marcus, okay, and he goes on a date with this woman Bina. Now Marcus, he's not not the tallest guy in the world, all right, but Marcus is at least is not as facially challenged as the other one is, right? Okay, and you know what? Listen, you stay in your lane. All you got to, he was probably teased maybe when he was younger about his height. I mean, I can only imagine being a black American male, being around like maybe, taller, bigger guys. He's probably teased. I just can't imagine that he was not. Get yourself a nice petite woman. Like a lot of men who are not that tall do, kind of makes you feel big, right? You get somebody that's a little bit shorter. You get a woman that's like 5'9", 5'11", something like that. Have a good life. But he's got these two women who, if you saw them at the grocery store, you would think these are like normal intelligence, women of normal intelligence. So this wife of his, who he cheated on, and then meets the new one. So what's her name? Oh goodness, what is her name? Taryn and something else. Or India, Taryn and India, right? So he cheats on Taryn, meets India, brings her in. Taryn's all upset. Thank you. Yes. So India. So he brings her in, and next thing you know, now they start talking about getting back together, but now India's in the picture, and it's all just a mess. How is this man a public official? This is what I want to know. It just goes to show you anybody can be a politician. Okay, because you could just line people's faces and just piss in the eye, tell them it's raining, and people still vote for you. I want to know what district is he in? What is that constituency like? I mean, people, we need to vote during the down election. Okay, don't only come out during the presidential election, because fools like this will get they'll get elected. But anyway, I'm digressing. So now it's time for him to go out with this other woman, and so the dynamic. Now, are you guys catching this? I don't know, Burgundy, if you're catching this or not as well. It seems like the ones that initially got cheated on or told that now they need to be in a plural situation are the ones that were hurt in the beginning, and the one that once they for whatever reasons hang on, and number two comes in, and then when number three comes in, now they're all good, and they're like looking at number two like, oh yeah, what's the matter, you were invited in, you don't want somebody else in. So he goes out on this date with this woman, and she's a hairstylist, okay, and hairstylists are very free people. I'm a hairstylist as well, and I know what that whole lifestyle is like. It was just, I eventually went into the medical field, but I love, there was nothing like being a hairstylist. It was the most freeing, independent. You love hearing people. They tell you their stories. They tell you their deepest secrets. You get to give like little armchair advice and stuff like that. And, a typical life of a stylist, you get done maybe like 6 o'clock at night or something like that. You tend to go out for drinks afterwards. I'm from Manhattan, right? So that was our life. We would go out and we would have such a good time. And that was just part of the freedom. Hairstylists are a very different breed of people, especially the women, right? And you tend to have like a lot of gay male friends, and you go out and you have such a free time. So to see someone like that with him, I was like scratching my head like, is this for real too? Because like how she's saying, oh, you're not going to clip my wings and yada yada yada. So anyway, they're on this date, and the two ladies back at home pack the picnic basket, right? So they're talking, and he's like, oh, what he's gonna, my kid's in the next one, what he's gonna LICK when it comes down to that cookie. And I was like, oh my God, just give me a barf bag already. I'm trying to like digest my lunch. And she's sitting there and they're giggling and they're flirting, and now he's basically got it in his head like, okay, well, I'm gonna let her know that I'm really serious about this. I really want to do this. I really want to pursue this. So he goes home and then he tells the two wives about how the date was, and he's glowing and he's so happy and he's ready to move on to the next step. He's like, hey, listen, it's sex time, okay? And I don't want you guys telling me when I can and can't. So all of a sudden, India is like, she's putting on the brakes. India's like, oh, I'm not having this. Oh, you mean to tell me, oh, this is going to involve some, relations? And it was funny when they all got together on the sofa, and Taryn's like, like, I'm cool with it, and India's like, well, I'm not cool with it. And here we go again with this dynamic of the person who originally had to deal with all of this being introduced and put on their shoulders, which is the first wife, is now kind of like moved on. Because I think maybe somewhere in her head she's kind of checked out. Like, I just can't. I mean, she seems intelligent. She has to realize that the blowback that will happen, and like, not just that, the consequences for the children, because and they have the kids on camera. That's a whole other thing. We haven't even talked about the kids yet. I mean, I personally do not believe that this is a healthy thing to introduce to children. It's a very adult lifestyle. And they talk about how, like, LGBT lifestyle, that's not a lifestyle. People don't choose who they're attracted to in terms of gender, but how you set up your house, now that is a lifestyle. And this is a lifestyle, and it's going to affect these kids, and I feel really bad for them. And it's also going to teach the male children, I mean, just everything. It's going to teach the males that it's just normal to go ahead and have like all these different women. It's going to teach girls it's worse for the girls, because the girls will grow up thinking, oh my, well, I can't say for sure, but it definitely sends a very a dangerous message to girls, that to accept less than in a relationship, that it's okay if a man feels like you're not enough. So go ahead, and it's okay if he cheats on you, because I mean, men just do it anyway, so just go ahead. And this was the whole justification of this of Marcus's date, Bina. She was like, well, they're gonna cheat anyway. So now, and this at this point, I was wondering, this free spirit, this hairstylist, this woman who in some sense I can kind of relate to, how when she says if they're going to cheat anyway, I'm waiting for the next sentence to be, so if I enter into this with you, you're going to be okay with me doing the same thing. Because if you're a hairstylist and you're free, right? I mean, I'm not saying every hairstylist is like that, but I mean, typically, unless you're like very religious or something like that, that's a different situation. But I just, she seems so free spirited. I just can't imagine her just being like, okay, I'm okay with this, and it's all good. Even with Leah, even though Leah seems like she's not, like, I feel like she's an actress, or at least she's been hired for this particular show. Leah, in some sense, if the story that they're giving us is actually true, factual indeed, then I wonder if, like, how is it that she is, I'm not sure, like, how is she, I mean, she says that she was raised in this particular situation. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, all right, well, if that's true, then maybe it is normal for her, because if she grew up, in that particular, lifestyle, right? But this other girl, it just doesn't make any sense. Bina, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just not getting it. So now we're seeing Marcus get upset towards India, because he's basically putting that little foot down of his, and he's saying, well, you know what? Hey, you knew what this was. You came into this, so somebody else is going to be coming into this, and you're going to have to deal with it, kind of situation. So I'm just like, listen, I don't know what's going on in Taryn's head, but the other one, India, she's not looking too bright. All right, let's just be honest, okay? We're not all knives are the sharpest in the drawer, and this might be one of those type situations. All of these women, but I mean, India to me seems particularly a little bit kind of airheadish, right? I don't know. That's just my opinion. So, all right, who are we going to go on to now? So, all right. So then we go back to what's his name, to Sidian and his situation with this girl Arielle over in the Philippines, and he's going to start planning to go over there. So listen, they're gonna have to give us a little bit more with this whole City and Tasha situation because it's just like watching paint dry with these two. You're wondering that too jealousy or too young. I mean, listen, she definitely is young, and I mean, there's something not clicking all the way upstairs. I mean, and the thing is it hurts my heart because you all know I'm a girl's girl. I'm totally a feminist, so that's where I stand. If nobody likes that. I just have to be honest about who I am. So I'm about women's empowerment. So until TLC brings back brother or what is it, brother husbands, I am just not going to be for this because this isn't. We have too many thousands and thousands of years of women not having control of their fertility, women being married off to older men. Some parents will sell their child off and marry them to older people in the village and things like that. Women, we just historically have always gotten the shorter end of the stick when it comes down to marriage and children. And to see women in this day and age living in a developed country like the United States choosing to make these sort of decisions, to me, it's just absolutely mind blowing. I mean, I was gobsmacked when this show first came on, but it was like a train wreck that I just could not let go. People say, "What's your favorite show?" I usually say Married at First Sight, but to be honest, it really is Seeking Sister Wives because I just can't believe it. And the reason that I watch it is because I hate watch it. I'm being honest. I hate watching because I'm waiting every season for somebody to leave. That's why I stopped watching Sister Wives about the Codys because I wanted every time for them to be like, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. I guess one of them finally left or whatever, but who had 15 seasons to sit around and wait for that? It took too long. Now I was done with that stuff, right? Now let's talk about, the sharing of intimate partners. Okay, you pass back and forth. You get a little, it doesn't have to be something as devastating as AIDS, but it could be. But there are things that don't show up, right? Or things that there are infections that you could be asymptomatic of, and you can easily be passing that on to another partner and not even know it, and then you're just passing it on back and forth. Next thing you got an outbreak, she's got an outbreak, they got an outbreak, and people say, well, as long as or not as long as, but they're going to do it anyway. That is not an excuse. There are people out there that will really love you and seriously think that you're enough for them. So I think, ladies, we need to have the conversation, and we need to be teaching our kids that it's okay to have expectations in a relationship. It's okay. It's not okay for somebody to not call you back and only text you in the middle of the night and stuff like that. That's not okay unless this is like completely what you've set out and you're okay with that. Okay, but a lot of times we're not okay with that. Let's be honest. People just kind of settle in for something that they like to call down south a little old piece of the man. Okay, you don't need to take a piece of a man. That's just ridiculous. What does it say? I don't have to be super serious, but trichomoniasis. Oh yeah, that's right. Trichomoniasis. Absolutely. Yeah, these are your kitchen table standard sexually transmitted infections. And I mean, what are you going to do? The Snowden alkaline diet to prevent a yeast infection? Get the hell out of here with that. You're going to steam your noni? Come on. And speaking of that, you guys know I'm in Seattle, so I'm always on the lookout to see if I can find what's her name? What's that? The Snowden one, the one with the Snowdens that went out to Australia. Yeah, she's from out here. And let me tell you something. So I work in the medical field as well, right? So in the medical field, I remember I had to take a CPR class one time. Yeah, the alkaline diet, right? I had to take a CPR class, and this was about 2 or 3 weeks after the first season of Seeking Wives came out. So I'm in the CPR class, and you got the dummy on the floor, and you're doing your compressions, right? And I look up, and I'm looking at the instructional video, and who was on there? None other than Vanessa. So Vanessa, come to find out, is a local actress. So I was like, oh, so interesting. But I couldn't stop in the middle of the class. And I swear to God, I was like, I'm going to stop that instructor because the CPR class, yes, Burgundy. I wanted to tell you about that a long time ago. And I remember when the class finished, because the CPR class was for, it wasn't like for the, it wasn't like the Red Cross had their own. This particular little CPR company, a local CPR company, a Seattle company, they made their own video module. So this was from a this was shot locally. They used local actors. So I said, when she first got on that show, I was like, so is she just an actress? Is this? And I remember at the end of the class, I thought to myself, I'm going to ask the instructor when the instructor is done. But I was so happy I passed my CPR that I forgot about it. And then I called to the CPR class the next day because I wanted to talk to the instructor. I was like, and they were like, what do you want to talk to her about? I wanted to ask her, like, do you know who this woman is in the video? I was so messy, right? So I was like, yeah, can you have her call me back? She never called me back, but I was just like dead curious. I was like, every time I go like renew my CPR license, is she gonna be there, or or they're gonna continue to use her? Do they even reckon? Because the show was so new, I don't know that they had even because there were it was like an instructor and like an assistant, and I was like, I don't even know if they know that this show is on, this brand new show, Seeking Sister Wives, is on TLC, and that this person that works for their company is now on this show. So yes, I'm always in the aisle 5 like this at Target looking for Vanessa. So anyway, that's it, guys. Listen, I had a really good time with you. Burgundy, girl, you don't understand. Big heart. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on to my live. It was just really, it was a lot of fun. And it's always good when you do a live and you actually have somebody to talk to instead of just like staring into the screen. But anyway, so I will be I will be here next week. We will be here for the same old nonsense. Please go over to Burgundy Blue's channel and check out her commentary. She's got some really funny stuff, some nice theories. Okay, so let's see what we can cook up next week. We'll see, if anybody, winds up with an STD, they're pregnant, somebody's family member jumps out of the bushes. Let's see what happens. I'm very, very curious. So everybody, please stay safe, take care, and Jippy Salacho.